We begin today with a terrible tragedy that happened in the Hudson River this afternoon, a helicopter crash, and we now know that 6 people are dead. This happened around 3 this afternoon, closer to the Jersey side of the river, just near the Holland Tunnel ventil shaft. And we're also learning here tonight that 3 adults and 3 children. The victims included a family here visiting from Spain. Officials say that all of the bodies have been recovered. Taking a live look now at the picture of the scene, we can see here from this map that gives you a better idea of exactly where the crash happened, and then now these live pictures of the scene where you can still see NYPD and also FDNY water vessels still at the scene. The body of the helicopter is still submerged in the Hudson. They did bring in a giant crane that is on top of a boat, and they will then be recovering the fuselage of the helicopter for examination. We're also hearing some of the audio from when first responders were first dispatched to the scene. Take a listen.
Vessel Traffic Service New York has received a report of a helicopter crash in vicinity of the Holland Tunnel vents on the New Jersey side.
Yeah, I've located the choppers north of the vents right here, right where I'm sitting. It's upside down in the water here.
All traffic into the North River, coming out of the North River, is to be diverted.
On the NYPD boat off the Holland Tunnel vent, it looked like a section of it went down a little bit further to the north, closer towards like the statue with the tail section almost.
Our team headed straight to the scene as soon as this news broke this afternoon, and we have team coverage here at 6. Let's begin with Jennifer Bisram. She was on location at Pier 40 when city officials held their news conference just moments ago. Jennifer.
Hi, Christine. City officials just wrapped up that press conference about 5 minutes ago. Again, just talking about what a sad day in New York City this is. 6 people lost their lives after a helicopter they were in crashed into the Hudson around 3:15 this afternoon. Officials saying those 6 people included a pilot, a couple, and 3 kids on that helicopter. We're told that the family on that helicopter was visiting here from Spain. Again, this happened around 3:15 this afternoon, and we're told that the helicopter was from a downtown skyport. Again, they took off for a tour here in the city, and as soon as that helicopter went into the Hudson, officials say they got several calls of this happening. Rescue swimmers went in, dive teams went in from FDNY, NYPD, all going in, doing their best they can to find that helicopter first and foremost, and then get everyone out. We're told that that pilot was found dead inside. We're told that the rest of the people who were inside that helicopter were rescued, and most of them died on scene. 2 were taken to local hospitals where they did pass away from their injuries. And one thing the deputy commissioner said as the press conference wrapped up was that those rescue crews wanted to make sure that they did the best they could to try to save everybody on that helicopter, but as you know, sadly, that did not happen. The investigation is ongoing. It's still unclear what went wrong, and of course, as we get more information, we will certainly bring that to you. Guys.
Absolutely, Jennifer. Thank you for that update from your position there at Pier 40. Also at Pier 40 for us here tonight is Allie Bauman. She continues our team coverage. And Allie, I know that you mentioned that you saw some of those members of the dive team that returned back to the pier, and the looks on their faces was just utter devastation.
Yeah, Christina, about, maybe an hour and a half or so after the plane went down, we saw FDNY boats arriving here at Pier 40, and some of the divers, coming out dripping wet in their wetsuits, and just their faces completely dropped after we had learned that all 6 people on board had died. Now, earlier this afternoon, we did speak to one witness over at Pier 40 here who saw the plane, or who saw the helicopter, go down. He said that he saw the tail of the helicopter pop off, is what he said, and he saw the main rotor then come off, and says that the helicopter then appeared to fall backwards into the water. Now, as we heard in the press conference, the police commissioner said that helicopter ended up just, falling into the Hudson River just feet off of the coast of Hoboken. It was around 3:08 p.m. shortly after it had reached the George Washington Bridge and then turned to fly south, lost control. So it is just an absolutely heartbreaking scene here on this cold and rainy day at the Hudson River, between witnesses who saw this sight that they cannot unsee, as well as those divers who just, appeared to just be completely crestfallen as they were coming out of this freezing cold water after those 6 people had been pronounced dead. Christine?
Their efforts, Ali, certainly not unnoticed by all of us here in the tri-state area. We know how much dedication is required to do what they do every day, and when they are called to go save a life and it is just utterly out of their control, it's a tough day, to say the least. Let's go to Lori Bordenero. She has actually been talking to residents in Jersey City who all live along the Hudson River. Some of them actually heard the crash. Lori, tell us what those residents told you.
Yeah, and Christine, a lot of people described just hearing a very loud boom. One witness we spoke with says he saw that helicopter come crashing down. He says it happened very, very quickly. But I want to show you here what's going on over on the New Jersey side. The FDNY Marine units are still out on the water. That yellow boat there you see with the crane will eventually pull that helicopter out of the water. We're also seeing parts of the helicopter floating here. A brown seat we saw, part of the door, as well as safety pamphlets. One witness we spoke with tells us he actually saw a broken rotor from the helicopter. Many of the witnesses we've been talking to tell us they heard that loud boom, sort of like an explosion right before the crash. Take a listen.
I heard like such a loud sound. It felt like a thunder, and because it was rainy today, it just was like, okay, maybe. And then I saw like black particles flying, and again I thought maybe it's just like dust or birds.
That sounded honestly like an engine came out. I looked outside my window. I saw a few people running towards the water, and some people were acting pretty normal. So I was like, oh, might not be anything. Then I started hearing all the sirens come outside.
And back here live, you can see what's left of that helicopter over by the pier in the water. Again, this investigation still in the early stages, but a lot of people here just in disbelief and very saddened to learn that 6 people have died. That's the very latest from here. We'll send it back to you.
Lori, thank you. Let's get now to Alicia Reed. She's also live in the Jersey City area. She's been talking to witnesses who also saw what took place here this afternoon, saw and also heard. Alicia, what are they saying?
That's right, Christine. Just people in shock here this evening. Right now, the crane has been put in place. The boats have been moved out of the way, most of them, and that crane set up right in front of the chopper that you can see coming out of the water, ready to be pulled out. It's still not clear what time it will be pulled out of the water tonight, but it is in place. It's been a very active scene with choppers circling the area and emergency crews tending to the area. The helicopter remains upside down at this hour. Parts of debris were floating around the water here while search crews were in the frigid water. This crash happened near the Holland Tunnel ventilation shaft here on the Jersey side. And here's what witnesses heard and saw right when that chopper went down.
The helicopter was a little bit like nose down slightly, and I saw the propeller separating from the helicopter. It kept spinning in the air alone, nothing was attached to it, and the helicopter just fell. I saw some pieces, I don't know what it is. I thought it was like birds, black birds around. I think it's a piece of the propeller, so probably one of the propeller broke, the other one just flew, and then the helicopter fell in the water. I saw the big sploosh.
A tragic event here for New York City and New Jersey on this Thursday evening. Again, witnesses in shock as we wait to find out exactly what happened and why that chopper went down. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait to get those answers. Alicia, thank you for that update.